So make sure you hit the reactions when you see something you like. Yep, I see it now. Thank you very much. Let's do that throughout, and then ask questions, engage, comment on things that Les adds or I add or whatever, so that it's more, a lot more fun when you guys are engaging than us just talking at you. Remember, we're talking with you. This is for you. Everything about Momentum Builder is all about you. Remember, we're agnostic. We're not selling anything. We're just bringing great resources to you. That's our goal. We're not an event company, but yes, we have the best event coming up in February. Woo! We're putting some effort into it. We got a think tank of the best of the best. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm going to tell you, I'll touch on it before we close, but the event is not going to be like any other event. It's going to be an experience. You're going to have a full-blown experience being part of Momentum Builder in 2024. It is going to be off the charts, and I can't wait. So love you guys to get in the chat, tell us where you're from, and tell us how you're feeling about the market right now. Let us know what your challenges are. Maybe we can address those. Bottom line is, we are here for you. Denver. Love Denver. Very cool. John Shea, he's my boy. Thanks for getting on, John. He's the one that makes us look good when we transition people over to PRMG.
Nice.
Total stud. But I see a lot of our team on there, but I also see some regulars, which I dig on. I see some regular people that go, this is my weekly call. So good for you. It's a commitment to getting better and hearing from some great people. It's not always the same. And Dustin, Los Angeles, right down the road from us. We're in Santa Clarita. Les, where are you from?
Well, I love that Denver. So we're going to go with Denver via Detroit. How's that? And right now in Orlando.
All right. So let's tee this up. And remember that again, please react, please comment. Oh, Wyoming. Woo-woo. All right. Kaylin, that's cool. This is cool, and we're gonna blow this up, by the way. Remember, we just started the app, which is Momentum Builder app. You can pull up our app to stay engaged, but we have a team that's gonna work on really engaging you on a regular basis. Zach and his team, Zach Kuzak, CU Acceleration, is going to help us blow this up so that we're always engaging with you through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our app, and it's just going to get better and better. So thank you for being part of it. So we have today someone that was part of Momentum Builder 2023 that we fell in love with, became a big part of what we're doing, because without implementation, all these great ideas are absolutely useless. Plain and simple. We all know that. Okay, I'd love raised hands or thumbs up if you have gone to an event, pumped up with great ideas, notes in hand, and then went back and didn't do anything about it. Come on, I want to see some reactions. Anyone? Yep, there we go. That's a perfect reaction. I've done it. Or had too many things in your head and didn't implement anything because you tried to do them all. That's my thing. I'm the one who goes, I'm going to do all 12 of these things, and I blow up and I have to start all over from scratch. So we brought in Les Jenkins with Implementor 10X. What better name? I love a company that has the name that says what they do. So Les is here, and he's the originator, the founder, and helped build this thing. We know Chad as well, who is part of Momentum Builder. Good dude. Just good people. Remember, that's all we bring to you. We never bring just outsiders that want to try to make a buck on you. Not gonna happen. Wouldn't be prudent. So Les's story, and I'm gonna let you tell the story, because when you hear Les's story, it will help add some credibility to why he created Implementor 10X, where he comes from, and why he's a systems guy. He kind of worked for a company a lot of us heard from. I won't say he worked for it. He owned it and blew it up. And now he's doing this because it's a passion of his, kind of like Momentum Builder for Gino and I. This is our passion. This is what we do. Am I right, Les? Teeing you up.
Amen.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to let you tell the story to kind of tee up how this all came about, so that those that are on the call go, oh, I get it. And I like his story, because your story creates who you are.
Yeah. Yep. Beautiful. Well, first off, thanks a lot, Don. You know, it's awesome to be included in this group of folks that you have put together. So before we go to story, you know, I just gotta, you know, love on Momentum Builder, because that's what it deserves. People who have been in the industry, have seen the ups and downs, experienced stuff that a bunch of people haven't, and they're committed to sharing their experience with others so they can leverage it and put it to work, implement it, and save themselves some cuts, bruises, scrapes, concussions. You know, in this market might be concussions that we've experienced
we're all
last
getting
year,
beat
but
up
we're
out
recovering.
here.
You know, you can recover from a concussion. That's the great news. Everything gets better. So what you've done these last few years, putting on these events, the roster from this year's events and the content that was there, and then looking forward into next year, I mean, it's fantastic. You know, there's just a few in the industry who do it right and do it well. And, you know, you set a standard about how that's supposed to be done. So thanks for including us, you know, in this group of yours. We're very, very honored to be here. So I was hoping you might say some stuff about me, because I don't, you know, I'm an implementation guy. I guess I gotta tell a little bit of story of where'd you come from, what you do, because I haven't been the guy on the mortgage circuit. You know, your lead speaker at this year's event was Barry Habib. You know, everybody's heard of Barry Habib in the mortgage business. Has anybody heard of Implementor 10X and Les Jenkins in the mortgage business? Not anywhere close to Barry Habib. Everybody knows what Barry's doing and where he's coming from. And the whole rest of your roster is all these known names. But we ran a white label product inside one of the biggest mortgage companies for about 4 or 5 years. So that group knows us very well, but we were very loyal to them during that period of time and kept it inside. And it's now available to everybody outside. And so we're here to share it with everyone. And all right, now I'll go backwards and say, okay, what's this guy's backstory? Where did he come from? Detroit originally, that's where I grew up. If there's any Michigan people on here, good Motor City people, hardworking, loyal, faithful, been down, knock down, get back up. You know, we know how it rolls. Big family,
Motor
right?
City.
The Motor City, big family, 7 people in a family, mom and dad plus 5 kids. I was at the bottom of the heap of those 5 kids. So by the time graduation came around, I was ready to bolt. That's when Colorado came in, moved to Denver, been there ever since until just about 2 years ago, moved down here to Orlando, and now we live in Florida. But when I arrived in Denver, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything to my name. My father was a school teacher supporting 7 of us. So you can imagine, you know, my story starts with not having a whole lot. And there's tons of people out there who have these kinds of stories. We didn't have a lot. It drove me to do something, and I went and did it. And that's fantastic. It's a massive blessing, you know, to not be coming somewhere where I had, you know, a bunch of stuff handed to me and I didn't have some drive. So it was a huge blessing to have this drive to get out there and figure stuff out. And right away in the first year or 2 of living in Colorado, I was enrolling in college, and I literally was living in a camper, did not have a home, did not have an apartment, was living in a camper. And if you're in Colorado, you know, the winters get a little bit cold. So spent a lot of times at the library, a lot of time at the mall, staying warm outside the camper. But my brother-in-law approached me while I was in college, second year in college, and said, hey, I did my senior paper. He's a couple years older than me. And said, hey, I did my senior paper on this little local chain in Denver that built some restaurants, and I think it's really great. And I think I want to open one of these. Why don't you come down and eat the food? Long story short, went down and ate the food. It was fantastic. Really wasn't enjoying sitting in school, freezing my butt off in a camper, learning a bunch of stuff that most of it I had already experienced in high school, got good grades. My father was a school teacher and athletic director, so I had to get good grades to keep from, you know, finding the belt hanging on the back of the door. You know, if you had that upbringing, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, old school. They don't have those now sitting on the back wall anymore.
You know, it's time out these days, you know.
Right.
A kinder, gentler world. Anyway, so we got his dad to loan us the money. He kept his job. I quit school, and we opened a restaurant. And in the first 90 days, our little, you know, franchise became the highest volume store of the 18 stores that existed. And it was fantastic. You know, I didn't know anything about restaurants, put my head down, figured all this stuff out, studied the operations manual, went to work for other, you know, a couple of the other franchisees in the system to learn what went on in there. And then just, you know, put my head down and worked like crazy to get this store running. We opened up another one. We started another business. I ended up back in Detroit with this other business. And as fate would have it, the guys who own the company made some bad mistakes and blunders. They like to party a lot. They like to go out on a boat, do some things they probably shouldn't have been doing.
Those go hand in hand.
Those things do go hand in hand. But when times get bad and employees, payroll taxes need to be sent to the government, but you're using them to pay the bills or pay for the boat trip, bad things happen.
Oops.
So incredible opportunity showed up for us to raise a little bit more money and take them out. So lo and behold, pulled some money together, ended up becoming the franchise or taken over with our 3 stores plus I think at that time it was 21 other stores plus ours. So it was 24 stores total in the system. And everybody's probably like, who is this? And I don't know if there's anybody in the comments yet that says, I know who this is, but it was Quiznos. So if you've ever had a toasty sub, seen the Super Bowl commercials, seen those little sponge monkeys that created so much hubbub when we use those for marketing, we took over Quiznos, started to spread it across the country, eventually around the world. And then later, 20 years later, sold out to JP Morgan Chase and they took over the chain. Unfortunately, 2 or 3 sales to large public entities later, bad things have occurred to the chain and it's almost non-existent. There's only a few hundred stores still out there right now. And that's a crushing heartbreaker for something that, our family business put together. And also I want to rewind here for a minute, and there's no way I take personal credit for that. Okay. It's my brother-in-law was the guy who talked me into coming and seeing this idea. He did the work of a paper. I joined in. He raised the money from my father-in-law. My father-in-law was not my father-in-law by then at that time. That was just the father of my high school sweetheart who I married 7 years later, who actually tomorrow is my wife of 33 years. So boom.
Woo-hoo. Congrats.
Took some punches and some blows in 33 years and we are still here. So in your warm-up, you mentioned something about talking at people, and I know not to do that.
Oh, me too. That's one thing you do learn as you get older to for any relationship, especially
Yes.
at home, though, especially at home.
Amen. So, in that, and I just get, in 2 minutes, I gave you a 20-year story of, hey, we did this and we, there's so many things that are in there, but my portion of this was I was the ops guy. I was the operations person who built all the infrastructure, the menus, the recipes, how a restaurant worked, how it got built, how it got designed, where we got our equipment, where we got our food, all that stuff right from the get-go. And I didn't know anything about that. I had to learn that. And I went out and I modeled the people who had done that and done it incredibly well. The Ray Krocs of the world and the other big restaurant chains were where I was learning from. And the people I was hiring and recruiting and the team that I was building, I was getting the players to fill in the pieces for the stuff I didn't have. These things are all parallels into the mortgage business. There's a ton of people who have gone before you doing things that you don't have to take all the lumps and have your head when it goes bald look as naughty as mine does from taking some lumps, right? You surround yourself with amazing people and all of a sudden things become possible. And if you just keep being persistent, and there's just so many lessons in there, and that's the part that I don't want to preach at people, but it's that 20 years of doing that work and creating these systems and the people that affected me about those systems. My story started in the restaurant business by quitting college, right? So I didn't go get that formalized training. Now, I was a hustler as a kid because we had no money, for extra stuff. If I wanted a new bike, if I wanted a radio, if I wanted, anything else, I had to go out and earn some money and do it. So it was mowing lawns and it was shoveling snow and it was throwing newspapers. And at one point, if you're from Detroit, I had the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press. We lived out in Macomb County, and I had the Macomb Daily and the Utica Advisor. So a kid with a really good route bike, throwing a lot of newspapers, working really hard to raise some money and do what I did. And ultimately, it led to having the ability to purchase a little truck to throw my stuff in and drive to Colorado. So those things taught me a lot. Latched on to Tony Robbins early, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Maxwell, Tracy. I mean, right. All these guys, these guys are greats, and they got it from the guys before them. And those guys got it from the guys before them. And a lot of it came out of this really nice book called the Holy Bible, right? I mean, there's a lot of all these stories about how to live, how to treat people, how to lead, how to suffer, how to get better, how to recover, right? It's all in there. But these guys have modernized those stories and turned them into, work outlines. And I just ate it up. My Audible library is ridiculous. How many audiobooks go through my ears and how many great pieces and nuggets I borrow from people's fantastic. And when the company got sold and I retired from the business, I didn't have anything to do. I thought retirement was going to be great. Like, hey, this is going to be great. I just got to sit around. But man, that runs out of steam fast, especially it was age 42 when that happened. So I had this goal to retire by 40. It happened 2 years later at 42. Not too bad. Pretty good hit.
Not too shabby.
Lots of other little things on those early goal journeys from the, goal journals from the Tony Robbins events and all that kind of stuff. When I peek back at things I wanted, I wanted to be married. I wanted to have kids. I wanted a house. I wanted a place in the mountains, like all these, things. But because when you're 20 and you write those goals, there are a lot of things. And later they start turning into more meaningful things, those family, those kids, those experiences, impacting others, building business, employing people, like all the fun we get to have in the mortgage business doing that too. We get to help people, their dream come true in home ownership. We get to save them tons of money and save their financial world when we refi them. I mean, all those things are fantastic. And when I say we, after retirement, my wife, we had 2 small kids. She was in a play group with the kids with a woman whose husband owned a mortgage company. I said, what's going on in the mortgage business? And he's, just tapped into him. And he's like, this is. And I'm like, okay, why don't I try that? And so I got into that and started learning the business. And before, I dove in and just said, let me go originate some loans. How do I originate loans? And for some of us, we might relate to the idea of how do you originate loans? There's the phone and there's a paper 1003, good luck. That was the training system back in the day. So again, with the operations mentality, I went, found the best loan officer, sat right next to him, listened to him for about a week, talked to customers, saw the paperwork he filled out, listened how the conversations went, and just started following along. That guy was a great LO. Now, there were some things that he might have pushed the envelope a little bit story-wise with what he might have been telling customers that aren't in my DNA. I can't stretch the truth, or I can't charge somebody a higher interest rate because their shoes are a little bit nicer, a little bit worse off, which back in those days, you could price customers all over the place if you wanted to. That just didn't sit right with me. I had to give everybody the fairest shake I could possibly give them. Otherwise, I'm not sleeping. I can't go home and be a good father to my kids and ask them to live right. That's in my DNA. So
it's because of those guys that we have the regulations we have now.
Yes. And you know what? I mean, as much as when they showed up, we kind of all moaned and groaned and everything else about them. In the big picture, it does keep a lot of bad stuff out of the industry and helps us work. So adapting to some of that, got to do it. In the food business, we always griped about the health department and the building department when we were trying to construct stores and get our permits and get everything going, and how much hassle they gave us. So every industry has its, its stuff that comes at you that makes you a little sideways. So that's a lot of the backstory. Getting into the mortgage business, owned mortgage companies and real estate companies for the last 20 years as well. It's been fantastic. Those were, it was just in Colorado. Colorado One Mortgage was the name of my little outfit. And at the biggest point, we had 30 people. The one thing that I knew after all the Quiznos work was I didn't want to go back on the road again. In that business and doing as much as we did, I was a road warrior. It's like being in the military and being deployed. I was away from my family for big chunks of time. And those things were just way too important to me. It's one thing when it's, me by myself, and then I get married, we don't yet have a family, that's still okay. But then when the kids start showing up, that being away is just, again, in my DNA, nope, it's money or whatever here, you can have all the money. I want the family and the kids, take it all. So you don't have to make that sacrifice, by the way. You don't have to give it all away to have that. But if I was faced with that choice, that's the one I'm making. What a fantastic journey being a father. I haven't had any better job. Was Quiznos a great job? Was a mortgage job? Was real estate job? Was a couple of the other enterprises that I tried in between that failed? By the way, there were some of those. There were some places where a lot of money just disappeared very quickly in things that didn't go right. So lots of at-bats and taking cuts and hitting a foul ball and having it come
That's
up.
how we learn.
Break your cheekbone, definitely plenty of that to go along with it. So there you go. Too much of a backstory. That's why if you would have told it, it would have been over quicker.
Yeah, but I would have missed some important parts so that they understand, because part of it, and I hope you guys appreciate this. And I know you're like, all right, tell us what Implementor X is, but getting to know the individuals that are supporting us and are passionate about what we do is important. So less, what he's about, why he's doing what he's doing versus is less just trying to make money off of us. That's the challenge we always have. And there's a lot of industry people that dive into our industry trying to make a buck. And our goal is to find people like Les and and all the contributors that are part of Momentum Builder are givers, like Barry and Todd and Renee. I can go down the list, Dave Savage and so forth. They're givers. You can't question that. And Les and I have already spent 3 hours, 4 hours on the phone already, getting to know each other and learning more about Implementor 10X. So why don't we dive in a little bit? Because I know everybody's a little anxious to go, what is 10? You set up a good story. Now they're like, what the hell is Implementor 10X?
Yep,
And they're going to be excited about what it is, because it's a simple, I think it's a simplified version to help us hit our goals. And it's our goals, not what the manager put on you. It's our goals. And it's a simplified process to do that.
Yep, exactly. Perfect. So it is a cloud-based platform where we take you through a personal goal setting workshop. And this is a streaming interactive process. We call it immersive life planning. But it moves, right? It's 3 to 5 minute video clips. And these are, the compilation of my, 30, 40 years in business, grabbing the biggest and best things that matter into building a plan brought into technology. So the minute you log into your account in Implementor 10X, you're instantly into a life building plan that's going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. You're going to spend 5 minutes on health and fitness. What do you want for your health? What do you want for your weight? What do you want for your diet, your exercise? Are you taking care of your body? Are you, is there a class you want to do? Did you used to play basketball in a men's league and you got lazy and COVID hit and I got out of it and I want to get back into it? Do you want to play tennis? Do you want to master golf? And we throw all this stuff at you. You put your headphones on, you immerse yourself in this, and you can just dream big. And these experiences that we put together inside the computer are the best of the best that I've pulled together from attending all the live seminars with all the really big, great guys. And they continue to evolve. Every year they get a little bit better. We refresh the content. We do stuff to keep them interesting and going. But it's your chance to think about you. And why do we start with a life plan? Like, hey, we're a bunch of mortgage guys. We don't need a life plan. Why be a mortgage person? Why be the superstar performing woman of the year in the mortgage business closing $400 million if you're not going to do something great with that in your life, right? We all, our driving force to be great in business is always, what do we want to do in our life? So we start there because that becomes usually our big why. So in Implementor, we're going to help you design your life plan, capture these goals. We're going to help you optimize those goals. We're going to make you narrow those down. This is where we lose some friends in the process because we challenge you to identify no more than a top 5 that we're going to go to work on immediately, because that's how you implement. I have people who write 15 goals. I have people who write 65 goals in the personal goal setting workshop. Never going to get done. Not going to get done in one sitting at one time. And it's cool that you thought about all those things that you'd like to aspire to. And some of them are little tiny pieces that you can knock out later. But Implementor is going to capture all of those and keep them in the cloud for you. You're going to move to the next step, which is the why. What's in it for you behind achieving those goals you just identified as your top most important ones? Bang. And we spend some time in there. It's the why. It's not the first why. Like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Why? So I, weigh 180 instead of 200. Like, really?
So the Simon Sinek, what's your why?
You got to keep digging. You got to keep asking that why. When I'm when I'm on stage talking to a live audience and we're onboarding a room full of 30 people, we come out, we do a big branch, a medium branch, a small branch, a team of realtors, whatever it is. You're pretending like you're doing something at your kitchen table, and your kid, your small child comes up to you and says, "What are you doing, Dad?" And you give them the first answer, and what's out of the kid's mouth right after that? Why? And then you give them the next answer. Why? You got to dig in there and get those whys, get the good stuff behind it, because that's the only way Implementor can really help pull you through to take action and struggle through the hard times when you're not making great momentum. Even though you may build great momentum, sometimes you're going to hit the wall and it's all going to come to a stop and you need something to get going. And that why is the only thing that's going to restart you when it's a big enough why pulling on you. So that process is then duplicated. You turn the corner. And by the way, this is about 35, 40 minutes and you're out of your life plan. You turn the corner, you're into a loan officer specific goal setting workshop. This is, I think the LO one is some minutes on it, like 26 minutes of streaming anything and everything you could think of about being an LO. It asks you where you at. Where you at on time management? Where you at on your sales skill? Where you at on your marketing? Where you at on social media? Where you at on continuing ad? Do you want a bigger team, smaller team? Do you want more real estate partners, less real estate? We're going to cover everything in this digging to try to get you to uncover and type the things that you want to change and grow about your business. They get captured right here in Implementor.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes.
What's really cool, that aspect, and we have lots of coaches, lots of videos, lots of info that comes at us saying, here's some of the things you should do. But what's really nice, Les, is what you mentioned there is you hit different areas that we might not normally think of to help you with those goals. Because if somebody just told you, hey, give me your goals, your head blows up. It's just, what's most important? It's really hard to narrow it down. It really is, because most salespeople are dreamers, thinkers. We're we always think big, but it's hard to narrow it down, because without narrowing it down, you can't get to those goals. And I like that you break it down, like, here are some areas to think of. That is key, because otherwise you're like, I don't even know where to start. And you and I talked about that. Our biggest goal for Momentum Builder 2024 is that everyone will leave with bullet points of how to actually, for lack of a better term, implement what you learned during the event, so that you can change your life and actually do it, and not just be talked at, be talked with, and determine how to do that. And I like that you were saying that this walks you through those steps to help you figure out what's most important to you and what those steps are to get there. So that's really cool.
And everybody's got something different, however many people are on here. If we got 10 people, 110 people, 1,010 people, watching this, are going to consume this. There's 10 different ideas about what they need to improve their business, or 100 different ideas, or 1,000 different ideas. Everybody's business is at a different place. Their mindset about which thing they want to fix is different. And Implementor doesn't impose any of that. You got to do this. We're not going to put our thumb on you and direct you. You make your plan. And we're going to run you through the same ringer. We're going to make you narrow down your top 3 to 5. What's going to move the needle? In this market, you really need to be asking yourself, what's going to move the needle for you and get you out of any funk that might possibly still have a hold on you. Things turned a while ago, but I still hear a lot of people just talking about, I'm so down because the market's rough. Like, there's been plenty of time to adapt to the market's rough, but some of us are still stuck in there. And why aren't we? Because we haven't taken time to go deep with ourselves and say, okay, where's my opportunity? The mortgage business goes up and down with these, interest rates and volumes and economies. And when it was raining loans 2 years ago, we were working as hard and as fast as we could and printing our own money, just raking it in. And we always know when that occurs, then the opposite occurs for a little while. So this didn't, can't have snuck up on any of us. So it's real. It happens. We come to grips with it. We sit down, we reset, and we go. If you put the headphones on and come into Implementer, what a great opportunity with yourself, uninterrupted, to reset, think about all these things, and go. And, I want to loop this back into all the things your people have shared with your members at the last meeting, on these podcasts. They're giving you great stuff to go to work on. So I'll get there in just a minute. So now you're going to narrow it to your top 5. You're going to get your reasons for your business goals. Then you're going to turn the corner, and we're going to go to optimization. That's action planning. In another 30 minutes, we're going to get you to come up with a couple actions for every one of those top goals, target dates, all the stuff we know we need to have in a good plan, right? There's no, not too much magic in there about, I need a couple of actions. I need to know what the heck should I be doing on each of these top 5 goals right now to get engaged. What's Mr. Massive action? We got to take massive action, right? I mean, Tony Robbins is the master of knowing you got to take massive action. So, but you can't take massive action on 65 things. You got 5 or less. So we're going to give you 2 actions, set a target date. We're going to set you up with an accountability buddy. You need an accountability partner if you're going to take on 5 things that are going to move your business. If you're going to take on 3 things that are going to move your business. If you're going to take on 1 thing that's going to move your business, you need an accountability partner. Somebody that you say, this is the thing I'm doing. These are the couple things I'm going to start right now to start me moving towards it. And I'm going to count on you in a week or 2 weeks to talk to me about how I'm doing. What am I doing? What's working? What's not? What could I alter? How do I make bigger progress? You leave that.
Is it best to find someone that also wants to do the same platform so that you can hold them accountable, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter. Okay. I mean, early on when we built this thing, we're like, oh, we gotta buddy people up, and that's how we'll sell a whole bunch of these, is make them get their buddy to buy it. Like, I'm not interested in making somebody buy it just to be a part of it. I'm interested in somebody being able to have an accountability partner in our system, reaching out to that person and giving them, direct access to the goal you're saying, I want you to be my accountability partner on. And when I say direct access, they're going to get an email that has your goal and your actions and your target date. And then when you talk, whether it's on the telephone, on a Zoom, or you get together in person, there's no hiding from it. So, okay, time to call me out. And we frame up the right questions for that person to ask to create this interaction. Because there's key things you need to do to get out of a good accountability partner. And you and I were talking over the last, couple of weeks about, hey, there's a lot of coaches, a lot of high quality, awesome coaches that are part of Momentum Builder. And I am not looking to replace any of those people. Those people are top-notch, incredible human beings, and they're great at what they do. You got everybody, from I don't even want to start naming names because I'm gonna leave somebody out and then the other guys will be mad. So
right. I know I have to always be careful
you've
of
got
that
a
too.
bunch of them that people in the community have access to. If you had that coach, that's your accountability partner. They're going to help you identify your goals and do this, but our system is going to keep it in front of you. So now that you have a plan, in just one morning, you've spent 2 hours working on it, you're done. The coolest thing is that Implementor 10X now has a mobile, automated, artificial intelligence coaching platform that's going to bring you your plan back at the time when you want to see it, when you can work on it, and a frequency that works for you. And then with some pretty cool whiz-bang stuff where we take your goals and we turn them into this virtual dream board. So your goals, your actions,
I love that.
motivating images you select for your goals, it's super cool. And I compare this to, you're going to be programmed by someone, okay? It might be social media on your phone. It might be the news source you're getting your news from, might be the people you follow in your podcast, might be the people you hang out with in your spare time, but you're being influenced and distracted by all these other sources. And this little 2-minute movie that is your top goals, the actions, and the images that you're after in your life, being able to see those every single day, and they play to your own personal favorite, motivational soundtrack. So if, I might be able to demo one. I'm not sure if our connection and all the stuff we're doing allow me to pull one up.
Try it. It'd be kind of cool. I love that you get to choose your own motivational song.
Yeah, right. So I'm an old school guy. I love the Rocky movies. I
knew
love
you're going
big
Rocky.
hero stories of getting beat up and coming back. So there's a few really great, songs in the Rocky movies that I put in some of my own personal movies and I use on demos. And you hear that song, you see these words, you see your goal, you see your images, you see your actions, and it's just 2 minutes. And you don't have to log in to do it. Nobody's wagging their finger at you. You don't have to fill out spreadsheets. You're just seeing your plan. And then you're going to put it into your life however you run your life. Some people run their life on a yellow pad. Some people run their life in a day planner. Some people run their life in Google Calendars, in Outlook Calendar, in an app. I'm not here to say you got to squeeze everything into our system. Like, no, we're going to help you pick the goals. We're going to help you see them consistently. We're going to connect you to a buddy. These are the fundamental things that make goals come true. You got to decide. You got to have actions, and then you got to have somebody to keep you honest. And if we can have those 3 big pieces being consistently delivered to us in a way that's engaging to us, that's modern with 2023, like we can't carry around 2x2 cardboard poster boards. That's nuts. And the price that Implementer sells at, there's guys on the internet selling just like virtual dream boards that are like screensavers for about the same price you get Implementer for the whole year. And we do all of this other stuff. We take you through the coaching of your life, your business, the artificial coaching, the connection to your buddy, the ongoing motivational messaging. I mean, it's all, in there, this system that will poke you and prod you and get you going. It doesn't do the work. It's the only thing I can't do. You got to do the work. It's your goal. It's tied to your why. You got your buddy to help you do it. But like it or not, you got to dig in and do the work. And that's why the session of spending the time, picking the things that matter to you. And I really here just want to flip over and say, there's a list of people on this thing. Barry Habib, Renee Rodriguez, Phil Treadwell, Neil Dingra, Josh Pitts, Cindy Ertman, Ryan Grant, Bookbar, Savage, Kelly Zitlow, Todd Duncan. Like, that's the roster from your meeting 4 or 5 months ago, right?
Right.
These guys gave the group of people who are watching this awesome things to do at the event. And so right now it's mid-year. It's mid-year. We're 13 days past the middle of the year. You need to find those notes, okay? Find those notes right now and grab something that you were really excited about when you go through the notes. And maybe you can't find those notes this minute, but this is your to-do, right? You got to do something with your information. You paid the money, you went out there, you had a good time, you got this information in your head, and there's stuff you didn't do that man, that's really the stuff I got to do. And you got off track because why? There's 1,000,001 reasons, and they're all extremely justifiable. It's the mortgage business, right? I mean, average loan amounts are $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. You sell one of those, you're making 100 basis points, you're getting $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Something goes off the tracks on a $6,000 payday, it's getting some attention, okay? As much as we say, oh, you shouldn't stop what you're doing and fix your loan, like it is just human nature. We're stopping what we're doing and we're fixing our loan. And people can call it a squirrel or a shiny object. I call it the reaction. And in the mortgage business, it's a powerful reaction because it's that every deal is that important. Right now, deals are tough to find. If you got 4 deals in your pipeline and one of them goes south, it's rough. If you got 2 deals in your pipeline and one of them goes south, you just got your pay cut in half. If you got 1 deal in your pipeline, like you're not making any money this month. It gets the attention. But that's why the things we saw 4 or 5 months ago may not be implemented today. But let's do it today. Let's reset. Let's find that thing and decide. First thing is decide. From your big list, just decide one thing and then put down 2 actions you can do right now to start moving towards it. Well, I got a lot I want to do in social media, but it seems so intimidating, so I'm afraid to start. Pick one thing you can do. Like, who do you know close to you that's pretty good at it? Could you just find somebody on the internet who's in the mortgage business, who's teaching us how to do it, that you could subscribe to, and binge watch? Like we binge watch those shows on Netflix. We binge watch shows on, Amazon, and everybody knows Ted Lasso, right? I mean, so if we knew the person who could teach us social media as well as we know Ted Lasso, we'd start getting there. And I don't mean that to insult anybody, but that's the simple action we can do. And if you commit to doing it, and then who are you going to tell that's what you're doing and ask to check in with you every week? And I say every week, knowing that it'll happen every other week. If you're really disciplined, go ahead and say every other week. You don't necessarily need it every week because you may not have enough time to get something done. But if you say 2 weeks, doggone it, do it once every 2 weeks. Don't blow it off, because before you know it, a month has gone by and you still haven't done anything. Okay. So what is the thing? What is it? What did Barry Habib give you? I mean, I can tell you probably stuff Barry gave you, right? Barry talked, about the markets and how you need to know the markets so you can explain it to the customers, and how you need to be able to explain why buying a house is still a really good thing, even though interest rates are high, and even though everybody's saying the market isn't going up. Here's the real statistics that house values are going up, and buying something today is still going to be a lot more expensive 2 years from now. Rates might be lower 2 years from now, but the house is going to be a lot more expensive, so you're not going to gain it. And Barry's teaching you how to use that, and he has a lot of downloadable tools. Dave Savage has a whole bunch of those same kind of things on his site. If the mortgage coach is your thing, right? And you're like, I've been paying for mortgage coach for a long time and I just haven't figured it out, and that's my thing. What is my action? I'm gonna write down my action is to find Dave Savage's, Mortgage Coach for Dummies videos and get started in that area. I know he's got the biggest video library in the whole world to train us how to use it. And if we've been shying away from it, or if there's a really cool new feature that that'll make a difference in today's market, me winning realtors, me winning deals that I might have lost, or whatever it is you're, putting your hat behind on how you're approaching your particular market. Is it, debt consolidation refis? Is it building more real estate agent relationships? Are you trying to do some reverse? I mean, what is it you're doing? Inside Mortgage Coach is something for everybody. Who else is on here? Who else got really good stuff? What was your favorite? Can you think of one thing, and then we'll help people say, that's my thing. Here's the 1 or 2 actions, and I'm going to tell somebody they want to help me to do that. What would that be, Don?
Sorry, I was getting a song put together.
Oh.
I missed that last question. I'm taking notes. I got a whole page of notes. Trust me, I'm paying attention, but I have to get a song for somebody.
So my question was, so I'm trying to pull some of this stuff out of here, like Phil Treadwell's like Mr.
Mindset.
Putting out all kinds of, mindset stuff. And Neil is Mr. Social media videos, how to do all that kind of stuff.
Education, but having captions and music to it so people pay attention to it.
Cindy just had a podcast about, hey, you need to set your goals and do 90-day goals. And I love 90-day
business planning. Great at business planning, simplified business planning.
Right. And Implementor obviously is big into goals. But when I was, day to day running the mortgage company, I had 30 people in there. We practiced what was called the 12-week year. My guys always had to make it every 12 weeks. We did the 12-week year. And Cindy was talking about exactly that kind of thing. And if you need somebody to put you in that mode, Cindy seemed to know her stuff inside and out. So
you're going to kick out of this, Les, on that note, just real quick, because for those who are on the call last week, somebody type in the thing. I want to see who paid attention, who was here last week. How long of a business plan did Bill Hart say we needed right now in this crazy market?
We're going to get some answers.
Whoever answers it first we'll send them out a Momentum Builder t-shirt. I'm just curious if May's paying any. Oh, Josh.
Boom.
All right. Well, good thing you walk across the hall and get you a t-shirt, buddy.
I know.
But he basically said, because the market is ever changing, you can't plan too far ahead right now. Just put together a 30-day plan, what you're going to do now, and then go to the next 30-day plan until there's a little more consistency.
Yeah.
Kaylin's right. A 6-month plan is nice to have. That could be your ultimate plan, but then put together a tight 30. What am I going to accomplish in this next 30 days? How do I make changes? Whether it's making more calls to real estate agents, meeting more real estate agents, calling my database more, whatever it is, you make that 30-day plan and stick to it, like you said, Les. And it was just, I thought you get a kick out of that. He's like, hey, and he trains a lot of people. I mean, he's the coach for a huge company. And he's like, right now, I'm just hopeful they can put together a 30-day plan. Does that make sense, Kaylin?
You bet it does. She gets it.
I mean, Gino and I have to bob and we
6 1-month plans, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah. And Bill Hart, fantastic. Another contributor to this universe. Bill Hart was a big guy in my business early on when I got in the mortgage business, because I didn't know what I was doing in the mortgage and real estate business, and he knew it. Bill Hart put out these great training videos where he was interviewing top performing real estate agents. I got a zillion CDs from him, and we gave them to every real estate agent in town, and the real estate agents loved us for this great content, and they thought we were the most brilliant people in the whole world. And we weren't brilliant. Bill was brilliant, but we brought them Bill, right? So they thought we were brilliant. Fantastic. That's how it works. That's the same stuff from 25 years ago that we can do in today's world. What really cool stuff could you go share with the real estate agent? If your thing is, I hear people saying, I got to go to an open house, meet some people who are actually doing deals in the business. So I'm going to go spend a Saturday or a Sunday out meeting some agents. Great. You're going to go spend a Saturday or Sunday out meeting some agents. There's going to be some strategy about what's a great way to do that. And then more importantly is the strategy that happens the following week. So it's a fine strategy to say, I'm going to go out on a weekend and meet some people. And there's a lot of loan officers like, I'm going to go out and meet some people. But what they don't do, because they're not implementers and they don't have an accountability partner who says, what did you do for follow-up? Right? So my action was, I really want to go to open houses and meet all these agents and grow my referral sources with people who are actually out there doing deals, and have some potential buyers and home shoppers rolling through the house, so I can be there as well to shake hands and make an impression and share my enthusiasm for home ownership and my great knowledge of all the programs and why it's a good thing, and share the knowledge Barry gave with me live in a house while somebody's struggling with, should I take this payment on in this environment? It's just too big to, well, let me tell you, why it makes sense. And you give them the 30-second soundbite of how it makes sense. And like, that guy seems really smart. We got pre-qualified on the internet by some place I don't know, but I think I want to talk to that person. Boom, there you go. But it's because you said that's my action. That's the thing I'm choosing, and the action is to go there. But then next week you got to follow up. You got, now in my little scenario, you got 2 people to follow up with, right? You got the one lead who's actually a buyer, and you got the agent who was there, and the agent got to see your work a little bit, and you weren't me. You were edifying the agent who's in there like, oh, Sarah's, she's been in the market for 20 years, because you learned that because you spent 20 minutes with her before the first walkthrough showed up. Like, I've been in the market for 20 years and I own this neighborhood and da-da-da. And you can start singing her song right there, and you've only known her for 15 minutes. How great is that? These are the things that we do, and we do them with enthusiasm, instead of, oh, it's a crummy market, whatever. I got an opportunity to meet a new agent, see some people coming to an open house. That's a wonderful thing. That's why I'm in the business. If you're a mortgage person, this is what I do. I'm hanging out with agents, and I'm hanging out with buyers, and I'm creating some business. And if I run a team, my team's seeing, I'm not afraid to go work on a Saturday. Like, it's one thing to be the manager and tell everybody to go work their Saturdays while the manager's, playing golf, and he comes in with a sunburn around his glasses from playing golf all Saturday.
Believe me, I'm telling you, a lot of my teams on this call, and they know that we're leading the charge with the flag in our hand. We have to right now. There was a time when we had things rolling pretty smooth and the market was cranking, and we can actually take a breather and, have our full weekends, or, have a day here and there. But right now, I know Gino and I are waking up at 5 every morning, and we were literally texting back and forth and hitting emails close to 10 last night, and we're back at it at 5. We have to lead the charge right now. And we even just told our team that bottom line is, if you don't, you just can't get away with mediocre. You have to lean in right now. But I promise them, though, if they lean in now, the riches down the road, they're planting seeds, as they say, they're planting seeds to reap the rewards down the road. The crop will be amazing because we're losing competition every day. A lot of our competition is sitting with their head in the sand, waiting for the market to get better, while we can go out and go take their market share. Basically, we can go, because right now, if you call up a real estate agent and ask them to meet with them and tell them I have some ideas that could help you build your business, not I want to handle your business, I'm going to help you build your business, then they will take that call. 2 years ago, you couldn't get somebody to sit down any day like that. Right now, they're hurting too because there's no inventory. I don't care how good you are as a real estate agent. And there's a couple of agents that are still doing fine because they control the inventory. But the other 95% of them are dying at the vine right now, looking for any option. So if you can help them, one, just help them get their offer accepted better than anyone else, that'll double their production level. And you can help with that by how it's pre-qualified, how you make the call as a listing agent, how you're involved, and so forth and so on. You can help them with it, or getting them help with marketing, help with social media, help with getting, what do they say, to talk to their database? What do you offer them to get sellers off the fence because they don't want to leave their 3% rate, or they don't want to move before they find their next home? You find out those solutions, they'll sit down and talk to you.
Yep. And again, if we've got 10 people or 110 or 1,010 on this call, it's everybody's good at something, right? I mean, we're naturally good at something. So, you just covered a whole bunch of stuff because you have immense knowledge in your head. But for the individual LOs out there, it's where do you excel at, and what could you bring to the agent that you're offering? You don't have to offer the whole gamut. You just, like, when you're talking about the thing that you're really good at, they're going to see it. If you try to say, I've got a million things for you to be good at, just like we talked about. You go to the event, you get a million great notes, you come back, can't do them all. Real estate agent can't do the same thing either. If you are a master of your own database and you do really great keeping in touch with your customers, we know that's where most agents' business comes from. And we know also that they're pretty rotten at it. So there's super easy low-hanging fruit on that one topic. Here's the things I do. I'll sit and call with you. Let's do this together because me personally, Mr. Whoever you are, Mr. or Mrs. Loan Officer, you're really good at that. And if that's not your thing, and you're good at open houses, and you know how to put displays open, and you're willing to walk up and down the street and pass out, and let everybody know, hey, we're having an open house down the street if you wanted to come through today. Or here's the CMA for the market in case you were wondering what our other houses work that agent put together that we're passing out to all the neighbors. I'll go walk the street and pass them all out to all the neighbors. Like, you would do that for me? Like, right. And what do you need to know how to do? Nothing. You didn't do the CMA. The agent did the CMA. I'm just going to go pass it out for you. You don't even think I'm the greatest person in the whole world. So yes, I know how to walk. I can go.
Les, we have about 6 minutes left at the top of the hour. We try to keep on track because everybody, if they're time blocking and being, diligent to getting things done on time.
Yes.
So share with us, because I know you don't do this to sell, but if anybody's interested in this plan, and because you're part of Momentum Builder, we have a literally smoking deal, and so much that, don't worry, we're not getting a dime of this as Momentum Builder. Yes, could we do affiliate agreements? But instead we wanted to pass all the savings on to you, so you actually take action, because it's kind of a no-brainer. It's very cheap. Sorry, it is, compared to coaching and this and that. And it's an extension of coaching. I still believe in coaching. I haven't coached my entire career. Actually, once I got one, my career changed. But this is a smoking deal to do something different to help you achieve your goals. So can you share with us what this opportunity is?
100%. Yep. So $240 for an annual subscription to Implementor 10X. That feels like $20 a month, right? What, you got a dozen things you pay $20 a month for. This thing's going to help you find a loan in the first 30 days.
How much is it usually?
600. I mean, that's a 40% discount, or it's a 60% discount. Sorry, I'm a guy who used to do math for a living. It's a 60% discount from the face value price on the website, for your group. And yes, Don's not taking a cut of anything. I said to Don, lots of people want affiliate agreements and money like that. Like, no, give it to the team, because at Momentum Builder, we help bring content that if they capture and stick it in Implementor, they'll actually do it and they'll have wins, and then they can come back across our stage and be happy guys slapping high fives.
Testimonials. I want your testimonials. That's what I'm doing. I can't pay for that. I'd rather give you the discount. You come back and say, I used it and it was great. Just one of the tips I got from Momentum Builder.
Capture the 4 best ideas you got 4 months ago, 5 months ago at your event, stick them in Implementor 10X, and I guarantee within the first 60 days, you'll have 2 or 3 more deals. And the first loan you close, I mean, again, what are we making? We making $4,000 on a loan, $5,000 on a loan, you paid $250. This isn't that I'm going to one loan investment yourself to death. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of one loan. And by the way, it also, I don't think I told you this, Don, that subscription has a 14-day free trial. So if somebody gets in there and I hate listening to this guy and I don't like these videos, I'm out. Like, then just.
What's funny is you create your own video, but anyways. So that's on you.
Yeah. You've got a link that I sent you in an email, but I also today linked a web address to that. And the web address is rackupwins.com. If you're coming from a corporate website or something, you might get a little firewall message that, hey, this site isn't safe because it's forwarding from rackupwins.com to that actual landing page. Most browsers will get you there. If you hit it on your phone, you'll get there. There's a lot of information about Implementor 10X on rackupwins.com. It's your page. I built this for Momentum Builders. And that other link is in your email. So let's see. Is there any questions in here that I'm seeing that I should ask and answer questions for?
Now's the time. If anybody has questions, Dustin, Josh, Amy's, there's a couple of Amy's on here.
You got 3 minutes, but I talk fast, so I could probably answer 27 questions.
Don, Eric, I mean, any of you have any questions on this, regarding this opportunity? Because the good thing that I saw, I took some notes here, of course, one thing is who you're going to follow so that you can, try to implement some of the thought process. And it could be Barry, Todd, Roland, Ryan, Cindy, Ertman, Mortgage Coach Community, which I follow all the time, Phil, Treadwell, Bill Hart. I mean, the list goes on, but who are you going to, try to track? And I was hoping to hear what your song was going to be, because I laid out a couple of songs I know I would choose. I was just curious and stuff. But also, if you guys can also type in who you'd like to hear in the future, that'd be great too. But Les, great. I love you coming in and giving us an alternative to hitting our goals, because we hear all the time about all these opportunities and the coaches saying, you got to do this, do your goal, do your goal. I love that this is a fun key, everyone, a fun reminder of your own personal goals that Implementor 10X helps you design. And $240, are you kidding me? One time, boom, $240. If it helps you accomplish one goal, it'll freaking 10X it. That's why he came up with 10X. So I would love you guys to jump on this and let us know, how it's working, what's working and all that. And we always love your comments. Go ahead, Les.
So there was a question here. Is this an opportunity for coaching or one-on-one software program? So it's self-driven by the user. When you log in with your credentials, we're going to take you where you need to go. With the video guides you every step of the way, little 3 to 5 minute, fully narrated working time. And again, by the time the first 2 hours is over, you built a life plan, a business plan, and an action plan, and you log out, you get back to work. Tomorrow, our automated coach starts sending you the reminder, the goal you wrote with the actions you put in it. A week later, if that's how frequently you set up your accountability, it sends you the accountability reminder that here's your top goals with the actions, and we sent these to your buddy, make sure you guys talk. It'll teach you how to have that conversation. So there's no one-on-one. That's why it's $240. So, it's saving you. A lot of people had to cut their budget. I can't afford $750 a month right now for a coach. That doesn't mean your coach is bad. It just means this market is tight. So I got to figure out, where can I cut? If I got rid of $750 a month on coaching, and even if the company was paying half or something like that, I still got rid of $350. But if I replace that one time with 240, now I've got this thing supporting my goals, keeping them in front of me, connecting them to a free, coach who's just your accountability buddy. It can be your branch manager. It can be your best friend. It can be the other best mortgage originator who can help you brainstorm and stay on track.
Excellent. So you have any pop-ups? Nick? All right. Here's our next few guests coming up. I mean, not that Les, you absolutely killed it. Thank you, buddy. And thank you for being an integral part of Momentum Builder. We know you're going to be a huge part of our success in the future.
Thank you for having me.
I love your passion. Next week, we have Ken Perry with the Knowledge Coop. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss Ken. He is so entertaining, fun, and so connected in the industry. He's bomb. And then, of course, Ryan, he is the dude. I mean, he's tribe coaching, art of home ownership, neo home. The guy does it all. But he is always on point with what's happening now and how to implement and become better and become more successful. Ryan's going to bring it. He's got some new unique stuff he's bringing up too. Help you with conversion rates. It's the biggest problem. It used to be, between an application, once you got in, usually you close 50 to 75%. Now you're at 10% because of the lack of inventory. He's got ideas to help you with that. So good stuff. We have new